Another layer of the why theory. The why theory can be used anywhere in the Bible because it's real simple. A person is born, he lives until he dies, or Jesus come back at the gathering. Now, what happens between birth and death or the gathering is what's important to a person. Because at death, he's either going to be in the Creator's kingdom or it's going to be in Satan's kingdom. Well, maybe one would say, why is this messenger talk so much about the why theory? The key is between birth and death, one has to come to understand Christ's kingdom and live in it correctly in order to make it into heaven or the hope. So many things can be introduced to this why theory, and everything can be introduced to this why theory. And you could use this diagram almost in every aspect of teaching and doctrine there is. So when a person is born and it comes to zero, he's in Christ's kingdom. And if he's a plus, he's wheat. And if he's a negative, he's chaff. So the same thing happens in the world. You're familiar with the plus, minus, and the minus and the plus. That's why it's so essential to start understanding these things and let them keep growing in your growth. So it's the same thing in the world. If you're doing the proper thing in the world, you're a plus, and if you're doing the negative things in the world, you're a chaff. So this is what mankind has to do from birth to death. Chaff and wheat. Chaff and wheat. The switch, which is essential. Choice. This side, Christ's kingdom. This side, the world. After death or the gathering, be caught up in Christ's kingdom. If you're not caught up in Christ's kingdom, then you'll be in Satan's kingdom. Now, we can see now how we could just take any diagram and use the minus and the plus and use the switch. And then we can talk to each other about any combination there is or any subject there is without being too much overlap. Because if you're talking about Christ's kingdom, we can stay in this area. If you're talking about the world, we can stay in this area. If we're talking about Christ's kingdom and the world, then we are talking of this combination. So what usually happens is that when two people come together, they are talking, one may be talking Christ's kingdom and one may be talking the world. That's why they cannot come into agreement. And at the same time too, because Christ's kingdom is so big or vast, you have to narrow it down. Same thing with the world. So now that you have this diagram, you can begin to narrow things down unto what you're talking about. Because if you're talking about something Christ's kingdom, and whether the person is a plus or minus, or are you talking about in the world if a person is a plus or minus, or what are you talking about? So this diagram really helps, and you can get more and more on it. So read the bottom, and it will bring out more and more into your life. Plus, all of these diagram and keys and blueprints match, and they're on the add-ons, and they allow you to add on.